Dr. Harold Shipman, the doctor who became Britain's most prolific serial killer. Imagine a doctor, someone you trust with your life, turning out to be one of the deadliest serial killers in modern history. That's the horrifying story of Dr. Harold Shipman. In today's video, we'll uncover how a respected British doctor became responsible for the deaths of hundreds, how he evaded detection, and the shocking outcome that changed the way medical oversight is conducted in the UK. Harold Frederick Shipman, born in Nottingham, England in 1946, was a seemingly ordinary family doctor known as Dr. Death after his crimes were exposed. He was a highly regarded member of the medical community, especially among his elderly patients in the town of Hyde. Shipman had an almost legendary reputation as a caring doctor, particularly with the elderly. His charm and charisma made him popular with patients, which allowed him to build trust and keep his dark secrets hidden. Between 1975 and 1998, Dr. Shipman is believed to have murdered at least 250 of his patients. Shipman's primary method was administering fatal doses of diamorphine, a powerful and fast-acting opioid. This drug was the medical equivalent of heroin and was typically used for severe pain relief in terminal patients. The majority of Shipman's victims were elderly women, often living alone and in relatively good health. He targeted women who were generally vulnerable and who trusted him implicitly. Their deaths did not immediately raise suspicion because the medical community, families and friends trusted Shipman's judgment as a doctor. He often visited them at home, which gave him the privacy he needed to administer the fatal dose and later falsify the medical record. After killing his victims, Shipman would often falsify medical records to indicate that they had been in poor health. He manipulated death certificates, attributing the cause of death to natural causes, such as heart attacks or strokes, to avoid scrutiny. In many cases, he even altered death certificates and persuaded families to allow him to handle the natural passing of their loved ones. On one occasion, he forged a will of a patient to name himself as a beneficiary. Shipman often recommended cremation to the families of his victims, which would have destroyed any evidence of foul play. Fortunately, some families opted for burial, allowing investigators to exhume bodies and find the evidence they needed. In 1998, concerns arose when a local taxi driver noticed that Shipman's patients were dying at an unusually high rate. He brought this to the attention of the authorities. In the case of Kathleen Grundy, one of his most famous victims, Shipman went as far as to forge a will, leaving a significant inheritance to himself. This was a turning point because it was so blatant and unexpected that it aroused suspicion among Grundy's family. Her daughter, Angela Woodruff, a lawyer, found it suspicious and uncovered a fraudulent will, leading her to suspect foul play. After exhuming Grundy's body, authorities found a lethal dose of morphine. This discovery led to a deeper investigation into other suspicious deaths, and eventually Shipman's arrest in September 1998. Shipman was charged with 15 murders, and during his trial, the extent of his crimes started to come to light. The evidence was overwhelming: falsified medical records, repeated use of morphine, and a trail of forged documents. In January 2000, Harold Shipman was convicted on all 15 counts and sentenced to life in prison. However, experts believe the true number of his victims is likely over 250, making him one of the deadliest serial killers in history. In 2004, Shipman took his own life in prison, leaving behind unanswered questions and denying closure to many families of his victims. The Shipman case shocked the UK and led to sweeping reforms in medical oversight. The Shipman Inquiry was established to investigate his crimes and resulted in stricter regulations, especially around the certification of death. Shipman's case severely damaged public trust in healthcare providers, showing that even the most trusted professionals could harbor dark secrets. Families who lost loved ones felt betrayed by the system. Today, Harold Shipman's name is synonymous with betrayal in medicine. His actions serve as a stark reminder of the importance of oversight, transparency, and safeguarding vulnerable individuals. Dr. Harold Shipman's horrifying story shows how someone with immense trust and power can exploit it in unimaginable ways. His crimes left a deep scar on families, communities, and the healthcare system. What are your thoughts on the case? How do you think healthcare professionals should be monitored to prevent something like this from happening again? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime content.